Hey everyone, it's Jeremy Osterberger with BIC Magazine. Today I'm joined by Steve Ledoux, Manufacturing Director at Olin Corporation. Hey Steve, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Steve, let's dive in, man. Olin is the #1 producer of chlorine, caustic, and epoxy in the world. The company's products go into many other products, including disinfectants, plastics, electronics, refrigerants, paints, coatings, and much more. Perhaps most notably, though, Olin's products have tremendous application in safe drinking water. So Olin is committed to finding ways to improve energy efficiency, reduce waste, and generally reduce its carbon footprint. In light of the changes industry is making to achieve net zero emissions goals, can you explain to our audience your responsibilities as a manufacturing director for Louisiana and Alabama at Olin? And how does the company change some in the last few years?
Thanks again for having me. Yeah, thanks for mentioning our products. I always like to highlight the positive impact that our products make on health and our lives, whether it's through disinfection, as you mentioned, through safe drinking water, materials for our home, or refrigerants for our comfort. It's just some incredible products that we have and we make to improve the way we live. As manufacturing director, I'm responsible for 3 sites. 2 of them are located in Louisiana. One is in the city of St. Gabriel. We have 150 employees. That's both Olin and contract. We have a second site in the city of Plaquemine. It's about 300 employees, Plaquemine being the second largest facility within Olin. Both sites are located in Iberville Parish. I like to say it's within the shadow of the state capital. We also have a third site located in McIntosh, Alabama. It's about 30 miles north of Mobile. And you asked about energy improvements and efficiency. For 30 years, I've seen astounding energy and efficiency improvements in our manufacturing processes. Industry at large has seen an incredible reductions in emissions while at the same time improving productivity. We continue to get better at what we do. Our footprint on this planet continues to reduce, and I'm very proud of our accomplishments. Specifically at Olin, we have 4 areas of sustainability. 2 are directly related to energy and efficiency. Energy and climate is one. The second is resource efficiency. Some examples are one of our goals is a 10% reduction in carbon emissions by 2030. A second is by 2025, we're going to be reducing the amount of water that we use. We have very specific goals in that space, as well as goals that recycle carbon and chlorine molecules for improved efficiency. The other 2 sustainability areas, not necessarily directly related to energy, are product stewardship. In that area, we focus on the safe and responsible use of our products. And then lastly, and arguably most important, a goal that targets lifting our people to lead in innovation, as well as community outreach and volunteerism. We have amazing people in our company, and they make up our communities, and they make our communities a great place to live and work.
No, Steve, great points, and thank you for covering what Olin's trying to do in relationship to sustainability in the future. So Steve, recently, in a presentation you made a few weeks ago, you discussed some different outlooks that people have when industry decides to maybe expand or build a new facility, maybe a greenfield project. And certainly in the last 7 years, we've seen a lot of investment in the chemical market, whether it be chemical manufacturing or refinery inside of a community. Can you just explain a few, maybe some different ideologies and what you've noticed that maybe people in the areas tend to adopt when industry expands or comes into town?
Yes. First, let me say I consider myself an environmentalist. I'm dismayed at what we've seen in this world that's divided, and our industry is under attack. I believe there are 2 primary ideologies. The first is a group that doesn't want industry to grow. It potentially puts, it doesn't want it to grow because it potentially puts emissions and unbalanced impact on local residents in areas of manufacturing facilities. Their method of environmentalism is to fight growth, expansions, and modernizations. I think it's a fair assessment to say that without growth, our local industry is destined to go away. It may take 10, 20, or 30 years, but it will go away if they're successful. The second ideology that we have wants industry to grow because it creates jobs, revenue, and a tax base to areas. With that comes excellent schools, universities, access to excellent healthcare, strong infrastructure. It's a way of life unparalleled to anywhere else in the world. Industry is being challenged and being portrayed as something bad when the reality is it creates a better world and an America that's full of opportunities.
Yeah, no question, Steve. In the past year, perhaps some of the most fierce pushback we've seen from various entities, especially for even some projects in Louisiana here in the last 6 months or so. So, Steve, let's talk a little bit about the environment. Can you give our viewers, your perspective on industry regulation and requirements as the industry moves forward?
Yeah, well, this is a great topic. At the federal level, we're faced with an abundance of regulation, layers and layers of regulation. Instead of making us better, it makes us less competitive. It creates, those conversations that nobody wants to have, where there's consideration about moving our manufacturing sites to other places in the world. I think this will only get worse if we don't fight against it. So taking the time to develop a position is important. Develop a position on issues that impact you, that impact industry, so that when we need to be, we can be vocal. I think it's also, just in that same breath, it's important and really critical to vote for candidates that support industry. As our industry faces more global competition, and it's competition that isn't held to the same standards and regulations that we are as American companies. We need regulations that allow us to have that level playing field. I think that's really at the crux of what I would love for our federal government to be targeting for us.
And Steve, you mentioned a little bit about voting, right? And I assume also in the federal level, but also even at the state level. But get into a little more. What is your view of the role of government in helping and promoting industry?
Well, we need government now more than ever that promotes industrial growth and attracts new manufacturers. I think this can be achieved through deregulation, improving infrastructure, improving tax code, supporting workforce development, research and development, and protecting our intellectual property. These are essential elements that we need our government to focus on.
And Steve, you really get into sort of the energy mix and kind of, what is going to be required, to serve the energy demand? We've seen storms along the Gulf Coast here for 18 months. In Houston, we experienced a freeze, which really stressed the energy demand. What about wind and solar advances and battery developments? Just anything you want to share in regards to the energy mix, especially as it relates maybe to plant operations and sustaining power to our operations.
There will be wind and solar advances and battery advances that will enable new applications, and I applaud the work in this area. And there is a place in the energy market for it, but our industrial needs are much more than what I can see being provided by wind and solar. But I do know that we'll develop solutions to our energy demand through technologies created by our oil and gas and energy companies. It's their business. Our energy needs will be solved through capitalism and innovation by companies whose business is energy. The research investment by these companies will be the solution. We need industry here in the United States, in Louisiana, working to solve our energy challenges. Who will solve those challenges if they're not here to do it?
Yeah, Steve, so many challenges are here and will be in the future for energy demand. That's a whole nother topic we could spend a lot of time on. So I guess, Steve, what do you see the challenges, enablers, and opportunities for maybe nuclear? Carbon capture is obviously a focal point for so much of the industry, hydrogen as it relates to the refining business, and even fusion technology.
Very interesting. The magnitude of sustainable energy that our industry needs is a significant challenge. Our energy needs will come from a variety of sources, whether it's nuclear, carbon capture, maybe even fusion. I'm a strong believer that we will see technology advances in the next 25 years that will revolutionize the way we operate. We will have technology within our manufacturing sites that captures the carbon molecule. We'll be able to burn natural gas, capture the CO2, convert it back to natural gas. Be able to do that more efficiently at a lower cost than purchasing new gas. The future is exciting, and I am so blessed to work in this industry, and it's worth protecting. So the future is very bright, I believe.
Yeah, no question, Steve. Well, look, Steve, I know you got to run. We just thank you so much for joining us today and openly discussing a lot of these topics. We appreciate your insight as always. And look, please join us in the future. Give us an update on Olin projects and expansions, or really any other industry relevant topics. Feel free to come back on. Just let me know when you want to.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Steve. And as always, we're most grateful for our audience. Please like and share this recording with colleagues, and more industry news, videos, webinars, and podcasts are available on bicmagazine.com. Remember, it's what we do together that counts.